folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Just thoughts going through my mind, kind of piggybacking on the video this morning that I did talking about World Economic Forum's predictions that this year and next year, when it comes to food, it's actually going to be worse. You know, they're meeting this week, and of course we could go into the weirdness, the suspicion behind them needing to call up 5,000 Swiss troops to protect the Davos World Economic Forum meeting this week. Makes you wonder, you know, are they planning to release some information that's going to cause people to come after them? I don't know. That's just an insane amount of security for something like that. But anyways, was thinking about it more, and people, we need to get serious about this, and I understand that many of you are. So I'm not, you know, saying that you're not as serious as you need to be, because I know that many of you are. But there's a lot of naysayers out there always that, oh, well, you know, we haven't starved to death yet in the last couple of years, and they were saying food shortages. Well, there has been food shortages, absolutely, across the world, but even in here in the United States, there's all kinds of numbers that, you know, show the lower levels of the economic ladder has really struggled in the last year or two just to put food on the table. There's been a serious struggle. This is going to continue. And for the people that are the naysayers, I want to think, of course, this is just me assuming, but, you know, think back in Noah's time. How many naysayers were there when he was telling them about, hey, you'd better get right with the Father because you're all going to die in a flood? And I'm sure they laughed at him and said, well, it hasn't rained again yet. I mean, another month's gone by and everything's, another year's gone by. I mean, crazy old man. There's just too much out there to indicate that there's some very hard times coming when it comes to food. We've already experienced some of that. Some of you, it's been a little uncomfortable because the food prices have gone up. And food availability isn't exactly where you want it to be. I mean, you can still find food. You know, most people, at least in America, can find enough food to not starve. Part of the problem is obviously the money, because it's gone up, and people that are struggling already are struggling more. These food banks, where a lot of people depend on to get their food, are struggling to keep up. So it's already beginning. The likelihood that this will continue, I think, is a pretty strong likelihood. You know, they blame the war in Ukraine. Well, even if that, you know, constitutes a certain amount of food shortages and problems, that's probably not going to go away anytime too soon. I know a lot of people, it's been drug out for a year now. It may have year or more years still yet to go. There's all the problems in China that we could go deep into, but we're not. Not just the conflict between China and Taiwan and us, but, you know, their little health crisis they got going on. They're having food problems. They've been stocking up on food and commodities for years now, stockpiling stuff. A lot of other Asian countries have been telling their people you need to be stocking up on food. The very real likelihood that over the next year or two that we could see serious famines, I think, are real. And then if you play that into the whole Great Reset Agenda 2030, where they want to control the population, they want to reduce the amount of carbon emissions, reduce the amount of people, well, then causing a massive famine, a massive food shortage globally, is a really good way to do that. It's just common sense, you know, control the food supplies and you control the people. So I personally, and I you know, okay, I'm going to sound like a jerk right now, but I really don't care that the people out there that are still the naysayers and they want to make their little comments and or whatever. If you don't think it's real, then fine, but just don't come knocking at my door when you're starving to death. Those of you that have the ear to hear, it's time to buckle up. It's time to get serious. Stocking up on food is a priority. It should be a priority. I have, in the past 6 months, I've had the opportunity, and I think just because as the channel grows, I have the opportunity here and there to meet people. Most of this is privately done. They don't want their names, because they're somewhat in power, have a position of influence in the world. And so you can believe this or not, it's fine. But I have been told by a few people that the upper echelon of society, that they're planning on stocking up for about a 7-year food supply. That's what they're stocking up for, and they're filling their bunkers. We've all heard the stories, numerous stories in the last 6 months to a year of how many bunkers are being built and how the wealthy are getting ready for that. And part of that is they're stocking up massively in food supplies. There's been suspicion and my mouth isn't working today, unsubstantiated reports that it's possible that some of the lack of food on the market is because some of that food is being, kind of hoarded by government and these wealthy, putting it underground, storing it. I don't know if that's true or not. I can't prove it. I wouldn't doubt it. The point is that people that kind of know things seem to be stocking up. They seem to be doing their part. And we need to be doing our part too, because I assure you, as it gets worse, you're not going to be able to run to the government and they take care of you. It's not going to work that way. Don't plan on, getting all the things you need when everything runs out. And what little you would get from FEMA and all these types of agencies, it's either going to be riddled with harmful chemicals, or it's going to come at a cost of your liberty. There has been a master plan working for a very long time, long before the health crisis. And it's moving America and the whole world into a certain place that they want it to be, so that they can, their global control. If you want to call it, globalism, the Great Reset, New World Order, the end times, the beast system. We are watching pieces of that play out before us. And it's hard sometimes because we're only seeing a piece here and there for a person to really put it all together and realize what's really happening. We see one little thing over here where they're talking about bugs and eating them, or lab-created food, or a shortage here, or struggled to get a crop grown here, or weather here that's strange and weird and could be manipulated, all this stuff. But it really, I personally believe that it's really all part of a big master plan, and it's not a secret. That's the thing. Their master plan isn't a secret. You can find it. They publish it. It's out there for the open. You don't have to wonder and speculate what they're talking about behind closed doors, because the stuff that they publish for the public is bad enough. I can't imagine what's actually being talked about behind closed doors, if that stuff is, if what's public is already being said. Getting serious about food production, about food storage, should be a very, very high priority. We talk about many things on this channel, and other channels are similar in that way, but food production, having some level of water security, meaning that you have a solid plan for water, and that doesn't come from just turning on the municipal sourced water tap. Are you collecting rainwater? Do you have a well? Do you have a way to function, use that well if the grid goes down? Do you have some type of water tank storage, a pond, swimming pools, creek, whatever it is? Do you have a pretty solid source of water? You need to have some redundancies too. Water is extremely important, folks. I shouldn't have to tell you that. And then, of course, ways to purify that water. Food, 2 years supply of food really should be a goal. And then the ability to grow your own food and practice and expand. You need to be producing food. You need to be learning how to forage for food. You need to be learning how to raise food, you know, on the hoof or in a chicken coop or whatever it is. All the warning signs are out there. All the indicators are out there. There's virtually no one or nowhere that I can find on any government level, any news source, any expert, whether it be left or right, anyone within the prepping community that's very knowledgeable in this. I've seen nothing, nowhere, zilch, nothing that says, oh, actually it's going to be pretty good. Actually, it looks like that our food supply is going to improve. It's going to get better. You know, this year, next year, it's going to be bumper crop. We're just going to be producing, and there's just going to be a surplus of food. I've seen nothing anywhere on either side of the aisle, the argument or whatever, that says that. So if everyone everywhere is saying pretty much the same thing, maybe varying different degrees of extreme, but they're still saying the same thing, then you probably should be listening. You should probably be taking it extremely serious. You know, if people ask, well, how much should I stock up? What should I do? Until you can't. You know, it's great to have other prepping things. It's great to have firearms to defend and protect that. But if you have a pretty good supply of ammo and you don't have a whole lot of food, then maybe you should back off of the ammunition stuff or whatever. And I'm just using that as an example. People need to take this seriously. You need to take this seriously. We do. I mean, I find even, you know, and I talk about this all the time, and I still find myself and our family at times, you know, slacking off a little bit on food because we feel we get to this comfort level and we think, oh, we're doing pretty good. You know, you see all this food that you have stocked up and you're like, wow, we're doing good. You know, we've got a good food supply. Maybe I can kind of back off and focus on something else. And the problem is you back off too much for too long period of time, and then you realize maybe I don't have as much as I thought I did, or we're eating that, because you should be continually eating your food supply and then replenishing it. And then it becomes easy to kind of forget. Don't do that, folks. Don't forget, and don't lose sight that making sure you have enough food and the ability to produce food, which is seeds and garden space, the garden tools, good fertilizers, you know, greenhouse, things like that, is necessary. Someone asked last night on the live stream what my opinions are on greenhouses and hoop houses. Everyone should have them. Everyone. And you should, if you can, have several of them. The possibility of the climate, the temperatures and the sun and all that kind of stuff changing to be even more extreme is a very high likelihood. And so having a greenhouse or hoop house, you can grow food in a more controlled environment and can lengthen seasons and can protect those plants a little bit better. So that should be a priority. Anything revolving around food should be a priority in your life. And I'm not telling you how to live your life, but if it was me and my choice was to finish, at least accomplish a 2-year food supply or take a vacation, I'd probably focus on the food supply. This is I believe, a very serious thing that we're seeing happen. And who knows what will come of this, you know, whole army guarding the World Economic Forum people this week. But I think it's a very foolish place right now for people to just take this as a joke or to not take it serious. It's time to buckle up, to get serious about it. Get your food stocked up, bulk food, canned food, dry food, long-term emergency food, you know, anything like that you can stock up on. Certainly be doing it every chance you get, folks. Now is the time to get your houses in order, preparing mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.